Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another pre-market stream. Today we're going to be looking actually into some of the gold markets. They've been getting crushed lately, so we're going to see if those are ready to sort of give us a little bit of a bounce back, maybe some long action. So we'll wait a few minutes for the stream to populate here, and then we're going to get rocking and rolling as usual. Good morning, Cooley. Good up, Kelly, Daily, Nano. Good morning, guys. Good morning. All right, so let's get going. All right, so here is forward slash G sheet. These are the gold futures. So these are the gold futures. So long story short, make it pretty simple. If we look at the daily chart of gold, we're on the lower side of the trend. Again, I still think we're going to have some more bearish moves in the market on gold altogether. I think we could be on a short-term bounce day, which makes me believe that maybe something like NUGT might actually play out pretty good on a day like today. All right, so let's put this on like a 20-day chart, all right? On a 20-day chart, we have some bullish divergence taking place. Again, it might be a little too soon to argue that we're going to get a reversal or a bounce on gold. But ultimately, we have had a really good sell-off, and I think we are kind of getting into those buy zone levels where people are starting to, contemplate the idea of getting long gold. So if you look at the price action this morning, we've already kind of seen it hold and start to bounce up a little bit. So ultimately, I do think we're trying to kind of reverse a little bit on gold, maybe for the next day or so. We'll see. But if so, if gold does in fact reverse, something that could be a pretty strong trader might be NUGT. NUGT has dropped from 42 all the way down to 5 over the past couple weeks because of the negative moves we've seen in the gold market. So if gold reverses and actually kind of picks back up, again, I think there's a really strong chance you can see the gold markets actually reverse, and that's going to cause NUGT to have a pretty good move in itself as well. Why not JNUG? Said, oh, you can do JNUG. That's completely fine too. Yeah, if you want to trade JNUG, same thing. Do I think the markets will halt today? I mean, they could. To me, there's really no point. I don't even. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. I don't. Yeah, either way, it's the same to me. I don't really care to make a prediction on whether or not they'll get halted or not, because even if they do, it's still, that just is what it is, right? If they get halted, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Right now, I mean, let's see, right? We'll just look. Let's look. Let's do that. So if we look at the futures today, I do think we could see, right now we're going to have more of a short bias approach going into the market open myself, but ultimately the futures are down. They're actually up today, a 0.5 percentage point. So they would have to drop quite a bit or rise quite a bit from this point in order to get halted. So, if we're getting halted, we're going to have to at least go down to, somewhere around 2250 today. Yeah, we would need a really significant drop to get halted from where we're at right now, I believe. So I don't think it'll happen, personally. A lot of people asking about CODX, AYTU. Sure. Yeah, so if you look at CODX, it's up this morning. I don't really like it. Do I? Maybe I'll take another look at it. Earlier, I wasn't a big fan of it. I think if you're lucky, you get it to break out more today. If reality happens, which it most likely will, you're not going to see that great of a move. The move already really happened from this high to low shift. If I were to draw a horizontal line right across this orange one, you're going to see pre-market, that's where a big pop happened. Right? So there's my white line I drew across that orange one. We spiked through, held, and got a big pop. So that right there is ultimately kind of the bigger support on the day. And that's why we got that big move. On the 4-hour chart, we transitioned and we shifted momentum from the downside back to the upside, causing a squeeze. So right now, a CODX, it's up pretty big. It's up pretty high. Maybe you get a little bit more movement, but look at it from this approach, right? From this approach, the orange or green, you're low in cycle. Green and orange on the top, you're high in the cycle. So from this view and this perspective, we're way overbought. Not way, I mean, we're overbought. I want to say way overbought, but we're into the selling side of this move, which means I really wouldn't care too much to be getting long on it at these prices. Outlook for the next 6 months is the stock market's going to go lower. Yep, we're going down. I mean, that's been my outlook for. My outlook for probably like 2.5, maybe closer to 3 years was bearish, looking for basically the markets to correct. And so we had, a 20% correction in 2000. We started 2018 with like a 10% correction. Then mid-year 2018 we had a 20% correction, and now beginning of 2020. Now we're into a bear market. So I've been bearish the market for 3 years now, and we're finally just starting to play out into that market, which again really isn't a surprise, right? So look at CODX from this view, and I was saying that the markets are a little high in CODX. They're a little overbought. We're kind of high and are more into that selling trend zone. Now let's go look at the 20-year chart on the SPY, and you tell me, where were we at in the buying or selling cycle? We were obviously in the selling cycle. We're way high up there. So yeah, from beginning of 2018, almost 2.5, kind of like 3-year period here, I've been bearish the market. We've been on the selling side of the market for really 2.5, 3 years. So meanwhile, I'm kind of bearish, more short bias the market. Everybody's long bias the market at these highs, thinking we should just keep cruising. It just didn't seem likely. So I think we have much lower to go, and I'm not really interested in buying the markets until we get into the buying side of the channel, which is going to start, down here at 1800, pretty much from 125 to 1800. So 1200, 1800, 2000, pretty much that's the buying zone for me. So you know that I'm not giving a whole lot of my market participation to the long side, buying up a bunch of securities until we get into the buy side of the channel, which is very far from where we're still at. So me, 2020, definitely have more of downwards pressure definitely coming. Gold's falling because everybody's panicking. Simple to put. Yeah. So our first buy zone, so let me put it this way. If Tesla's bubble had cracked and crashed, well, it already has. We've seen that coming. But let me rephrase that. Ultimately, if Tesla's bubble had crashed without the markets crashing, we would have already probably gotten long on it here around 550. But since it's still kind of crapping out, we're starting to get to the buy zone down here at 400 now. Anywhere from in between 400, 200 is going to be our buy zone starting. So we're getting close there. But like I said, if the markets continue to spiral throughout 2020, Tesla's probably going to go lower. Netflix will probably go a little bit lower. Apple will go lower. Facebook will go lower. So as long as the markets keep moving bearishly, expect things to keep dropping. But as we get more into the buy cycle on a lot of these stocks, people are going to start buying. And when they start buying into those stocks, they're ultimately helping increase the S&P 500. Okay. Yeah, so again, I'm not really getting short the market until we get a bounce that I can short into. So if that happens, great. If it doesn't happen, equally not as great. But yes, I would say, wait for a bounce in the market that you can short into. I think we could see a head and shoulders formation. That was on one of my analyses, but I'm actually already kind of surprised at the moves we've been getting so far, how aggressive they've been to the downside. So we'll see. Time will tell, but I think we have much lower to go, in the markets myself. Is it safe to hold UVXY? I mean, yeah. It's safe to hold it. As long as you're okay with market fluctuation up and down, then yeah. If you're afraid to see it go up and then go down by a couple hundred points, then probably not, because that's what's most likely going to happen. Timing really is everything. The best thing I could say for you, Daniel, is if you're saying, is it safe to hold UVXY? Yes and no. Pretty much all you got to do is make sure you follow the volatility index, which is VIX. So as long as the VIX or volatility index is increasing, then your UVXY position will also increase in value. But if one day you see the markets are actually going down while simultaneously the volatility index is going down, then UVXY will go down as well. So you don't actually, just because the markets go down doesn't mean that TVIX or UVXY will go up. They only go up when the volatility is increasing in the market, which tends to usually happen when markets go down. So just follow the VIX, and as long as that's going up, UVXY would be going up. Not really going to do a price target on NUGT because, again, NUGT is reliant on the gold market. So it's all about whether or not the gold market actually bounces. Will NUGT make a move? From an intraday standpoint, right? So let's say NUGT does move good on the day. First price target right now would be around 1139 to as high as 1342 on the day. That will all change depending on how the stock or how NUGT actually moves on the day. But for right now, only way I could price target out intraday would be first target 1139, final long target 1342, which again means that's all going to change. So for you guys, while I'm saying this, really your first price target zone would be like 1115, while your final price target would be in the 13s. VIR. Send me the tickers you're referring to. Yeah, VIR. You already missed the bounce on that a bit. So, let's see. Actually, yeah, VIR. I could see a long move on VIR today. You could probably price target 51. Nah, I mean it doesn't. It wouldn't be worth it to even price target 50. Meh. Well, what are we at right now? 40 sand now. So yeah, you could maybe argue if it breaks up over, let's just say yesterday's high of 49, you might be able to price target 60. I'm not a huge fan of it, but I think it's okay. Oh yeah, CODX I'm not a fan of. AYTU, I traded AYTU yesterday. Intraday here, so there was a trade on AYTU going up. Yeah, I traded it yesterday, so I'm familiar with it from yesterday's move, which makes me think today's not going to be good because since I traded the move yesterday, there was a nice big breaking out move intraday. So ultimately, I think that, well, let me take another look, but I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of activity. Why I keep doing that? Actually, if we're in the early stages of a longer developing pennant pattern, then yeah, you might be able to argue, let's see, bottom, bounce. Yeah, you might be able to argue that you get up through $2 that you could see, maybe 252, but I think AYT, that would be stretching it. They even didn't they do an offering too? Was that maybe not? Yeah, we do kind of have like a little bit of a bull flag here, kind of starting below some lower resistance, trend resistance. So yeah, I would say if you break up over this kind of flat top, maybe you can get a spike up to about 252. So maybe, if anything, if you really want to be long AYTU today, you can look for a move up to 252. But I wouldn't really think anything much more than that. Yeah, that's another way to talk about it, yeah. Yeah, Dustin, you're absolutely. I'm really glad Dustin said that. Just out of curiosity, last night I went and started checking out physical gold and silver suppliers. So again, guys, right? Everyone's freaking out because gold's going down, and they think that this is the play that you should have when the markets are going down. Yeah, you're correct. But just because they're going down simultaneously does not mean you're wrong. Okay, if you go and look at gold and silver, physical silver suppliers, you're going to see that a lot of them are back ordered right now. I was buying a lot of physical gold and silver 2 years ago, as well as paper silver and gold. And so on the security side, the paper side, we're seeing the asset pricing coming down. Yet on the physical side, you're seeing back orders happen. Yep. So that's probably a good indication that we're probably going to move up higher in the gold markets if there's that amount of demand for at least the physical. You can only imagine what the demand looks like for some of the paper too. So meanwhile, this is all going down. There's a lot of people buying on the backside. So I'm going to let the prices come down a little bit more, but I will probably be buying more gold and silver as well. And the nice thing about that, it's always a great store of value, so you're never going to go broke. Okay. See, something like Nvidia or Facebook could go bankrupt one day and then the investment's worth zero. Physical gold and silver will always hold the value, so you actually never go broke. So, fun fact for you. All right. Yeah, you can. Yeah. So if we go look at the dollar, you're absolutely right. If you look at the dollar, $DXY. All right. So the dollar's going up, yes, as to why gold's going down. So if we go to a longer term chart on this, what we're probably going to find is that gold sold off, or not gold, sorry, the dollar sold off and is now entered into a dip buying. Well, it did enter into the lower portion of its buying channel. So let's take a look. So yearly chart, I bet it was near the orange or green when it reversed. What do you know? Look at that. The dollar fell all the way down below the orange and the green and reversed really strong. Now let's go look at the chart of gold. Gold reversed really strong, and now look at where gold's starting to go. Gold is now kind of getting into the orange and the green, which is our kind of reversal level. So again, that's why I kind of figured that watching gold may not be a bad idea. So if we go back and look at the dollar again, yeah, the dollar is very closely tied to gold. So when we go back and look at the dollar, what you're going to come to find is the dollar has gotten all the way back up into the selling side of this channel on the daily chart, which in theory basically means that gold should be going up as the dollar starts to come back down. That's a very strong move on behalf of the dollar. And that actually, yeah, the dollar actually looks like it's getting ready to break out of this flag pattern. So yeah, actually, if the dollar breaks out, you should expect gold to fall more. But as the dollar reaches price, if the dollar gets up, if this dollar index gets up to about 108, that's where you'd really want to probably hammer in a long on gold. Yeah, so it's really all dependent on whether or not this gold market this dollar market breaks out or not. If it breaks out, gold's going to go far lower, but the prominent setup here on the dollar looks very strong. So I'd have to say that gold might still be in for a little bit more of a bumpy road, shall we say. Yeah, so we'll see. Yeah, a lot of people are fleeing towards the dollar. For right now, I am bullish on gold for the day. So when we go look at the dollar, so let's look at the dollar intraday. So is that intraday? Yeah, that is intraday. Wow, that doesn't look right, but okay. Yeah, so if you look at the dollar intraday, where's the dollar? Is the dollar good to buy or good to sell? Good to sell. We're way, way high in the channel and in the trend. So right now, dollar's good to sell, which in theory then means on the day, gold is probably in the lower side. Well, maybe not too low, but you can kind of see we're in the buying cycle, right? So gold, we're in the buying cycle intraday, at least for now. The dollar, we're in the selling cycle intraday, but ultimately the daily chart, well, I don't say the daily chart, more like the 3-year weekly chart, or that, oh, excuse me, that was a 20-year chart I was looking at? Oh, yeah, yeah, on the 20-year chart, it looks like the dollar is going to break out, but that's a really, really long-term chart. But anyways, yeah, back to what I was saying. Intraday, the dollar's a sell, and gold would be a long. So if you're going to try to do some sort of NUGT, JNUG gold play, watch the dollar, and pretty much as this continues to fall down, you should see the gold rise, okay? So that's all I have for you guys today. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Again, you guys can always join us live throughout the day and trade with us live. There's links in the description of this video that can take you to our homepage of our website. But as always, I appreciate you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next video. All right, guys, everybody take care. Have a great rest of your day.